Now that we have these image placeholders, these thumbnails in place, what we need to do next is style our hyperlinks. If we take a look at the hyperlinks within the web browser, we can see that they're just traditional links, and they're not really styled. They don't appear in the same way that they appear inside of the monoplate.psd file. So that's what we want to do now. We're not going to worry about these icons right now. We'll deal with that in the next movie. So what we want to do is return back to Dreamweaver, and the first thing that you want to do is just take a look at the structure. You can see that we have these links within an LI element. Within that LI element, we have a paragraph element that has the content class applied to it. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to write our selectors. What we want to do is come back to style.css, and I'm going to place these styles within the rules for all the other album elements. So I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit, and what we want to do is type in pound albums, so we're referencing the album's ID selector. Then we want to reference the list item, and from there we want to target the paragraph element that has the content class applied to it. So the first thing that we need to do, obviously, is control the appearance of the font. So I'm going to use the font property here, and I'm going to go ahead and set this font to bold. After setting it to bold, I want to set the size. The size is going to be 18 pixels, and I'm going to use a line height of 21 pixels. After that, we want to set the font family. Again, we're going to use the Marvel font, and after the Marvel font, we want to use Arial as a fallback, and then we'll use a Machine Sans Serif font. So that takes care of the style of the font. The other thing that we want to do is set the text alignment. So go ahead and type in text align, and we're going to make that equal center. After setting the alignment, we want to set some padding values to add some spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 20 pixels and then 0. And we want to set the margin values to 0. The next thing that we want to do is control the appearance of the actual hyperlink in terms of its color. So again, we're going to write a selector that's a little bit more specific that targets the anchor element. So I'm just going to copy this definition up here and paste it and then type in the A. After doing that, inside of this selector, we want to set the color properties. So go ahead and type in color. We're going to be using a hex code, and that hex code is going to be 367D8D. So it's a bluish color. And finally, we want to use the hover pseudo selector. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this selector that we created. And after the anchor element, we're going to type in :hover, so we have a mouse over effect. And that mouse over effect is simply going to be changing the color to 999. That's the hex code. So this is fairly straightforward. We're setting the appearance of the font in terms of making it bold, the size, and the font face. We're aligning it to the center. We're adding some padding to add some space between the thumbnail and the link. And we're also setting the margin values to 0. Then we're targeting the anchor element so we can change the color of the text. And then we're using the hover pseudo selector so we can change the color of the text when the end user mouses over it. So if you go ahead and save this, after saving it, come back to index.html and go ahead and take a look at that inside of Chrome or Safari. And when you scroll down, you should see the hyperlink now closely match what we were looking at inside of Photoshop. Of course, the only thing that's missing at this point is the small little icon to the left of the link. That's what we're going to take care of in the next movie.